By the end of today's training, you're going to think about motivation and discipline completely differently. Now, if you've ever tried to build motivation or discipline in your life to accomplish something, one of two things probably happen. Number one is that eventually you burned out or you quit and you went back to your old ways. Number two is that you feel like you're always climbing up this mountain where it's always hard, you're always having to force and push your way through. Now, if you are the first person over here on the right where you've been giving up and you're struggling to build discipline, by the end of today's training, I'm going to show you on how you can finally not quit. Now, if you're the person who feels like they're always pushing the boulder up the hill, always forcing the result, I'm going to show you how to make this journey a lot easier when it comes to building discipline to change your life, to accomplish the goal, to accomplish whatever the thing is that you feel you need the discipline to then do. So, the thing about today's training is that it actually has nothing to do with discipline and it has nothing to do with motivation either. Again, by the end of this training, you're going to think about discipline and motivation completely differently. In my life, I've built a successful business. I've been training and working out for over 10 years. I do not ever really use discipline or rely on motivation. And that's because there's something deeper to this process on how we function as people to accomplish our goals. So, if those don't know, my first successful business, I built a weight loss coaching offer. And now I'm building a new business where I help high six-figure entrepreneurs level up their business, make more money, and break their plateaus by rewiring their identity. And if we fully understand how identity, belief systems, the mind works, this is why you're not going to have to worry about discipline. So, first and foremost, when you look at discipline, what is it really? I believe the definition or a definition of discipline is where you're taking consistent, strict actions towards a desired outcome. So when someone says they want to be disciplined in life, it's because they want themselves to get better, right? I wish I was disciplined with my health so that way I can be healthy, more fit, feel better. I wish I was more disciplined with my finances. That way I can make more money, I can have more money, I can build my business. So discipline is this idea that, okay, I need to be super strict in a certain way with a certain set of actions so I can get this certain desired outcome. Now, the key words here, though, that I've marked down, as you can see, is consistent actions. How can one take natural, keyword natural, consistent actions towards their goals? Well, let's break that down. Because here's an example. When I was 15 years old, for example, I hate the gym. I couldn't stay consistent for over 2 years. I was not disciplined whatsoever. My fitness is what many people would say. I hate the gym. I just could not do it. Now I'm 26 years old. I can't go more than 3 days without it because I love the gym so much. But here's the thing. At 26 years old, I've been training for about 10 years now, consistently, we'll say, and I don't need discipline to go to the gym. A lot of people who look at me and see me working out consistently and how hard I train think I'm disciplined, but I would argue that I'm not disciplined in the gym at all. I don't need discipline. Why? Because I absolutely love it. I absolutely love working out. I love working on myself. So I don't need discipline because I feel like discipline is more so where you need to force yourself to do something. I never need to force myself to do something. This comes down to the idea of what looks like work for some is fun for others. What looks like work for some is fun for others. So now the question goes, what naturally inspires us to act towards something? What naturally gets us to act towards something? And this is the deeper thing. This is what I call, and what I've learned from my teachings, this is not my original word for it, but your motivational mechanism. Your motivational mechanism. And what this states is basically that you will always, always, always naturally act towards what you believe is best for you. Now, when I say this, you have to be very careful with my words because it's not you will naturally act towards what is best for you. If that was the case, every person would be rich, healthy, and abundant, but we're not, right? So you will not act towards, because this is one thing you should know, a little side quest here, is that your brain, the way your brain functions in reality is that you're not operating to be successful. Your brain doesn't care if you're happy or successful or make a lot of money. What your brain does is it's a prediction machine. What's it trying to predict? Your belief systems. Your brain basically takes your belief systems and follows them as instructions in reality. That's how we function. And those beliefs are very familiar, they're safe and secure, so we want them repeated over and over and over and over and over again. Okay, your brain's not trying to find the truth, it's just trying to reconfirm what you believe is your personal truth. So What you actually believe is best for you is what you will naturally act towards. Okay. So, how and why, right? How does this work? Why does this work? What is this motivational mechanism? Let's break down how this all works. So, first of all, your beliefs, as a side note, again, like I explained, are the instructions for your brain. They influence everything from your nervous system to your RES, which is your reticular activating system that literally filters out the entire reality, like 99.99% of reality, hyper focuses in on what you believe. So it's so unbelievably powerful. But also though, there's a system on how you actually get results as a person in this world, right? The results that you have, like if you actually look at your life right now, either if you are fit and healthy, if you're broke, if you're rich, whatever it may be, there's a reason why you are the way you are, why you are where you're at right now. Most people blame it on their outside life, on their outside world. They blame it on things outside of them. Those are what I call victims. But there's actually a system to this. Here's how the system works. So, your core beliefs, whatever you believe to be true, your core belief system will influence the thoughts that you receive and the emotions that you feel. Then what happens, if you look at how the brain works in neuroscience, when you hold a consistent thought and emotion held over time, you start to form what we call as your identity. And identity naturally drives your actions, decisions, your personality, your behaviors, all those things there, which naturally produce results in the world. All right. If you want a result, you must take action. You need actions or decisions that produce results. So you will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. So if you don't know what your belief systems are, you can sometimes take a reflection on the results you have or the actions that you take or the thoughts and emotions that you feel because they're all connected to your belief systems. So that then begs the question that the better belief systems that you have, the better your life will be. But also, though, if you align your belief systems with the outcomes that you want, you don't need discipline because you will naturally act towards it because this is literally how you function in reality. I work with very high level clients and I never ever try to pump them up to be more harder, to force their way through, to be more disciplined. Oftentimes, a lot of people think that because we're growing up in the idea, and this is just a belief system, by the way, that you need to work extremely hard. You need to be extremely disciplined to be very successful. When I say successful, I mean in wealth and in money. But that's not always the case, especially if you understand how this works. A lot of people take that path, but it doesn't need to be the path, right? Because if you just simply change the belief system, everything else changes as well. So, actions produce results. And the results that you typically get in your life are just kind of a reflection of what you already believe to be true plus time. Okay? Plus time as well, which will make sense here soon. But that's the kind of the mechanism. That's exactly how it works. So that's the motivational mechanism. Now the problem with that, the problem that most people have when they come to try to get more discipline or motivation to change their lives, because that's why you're here. I'm targeting you on a YouTube video so I can help show you a different way to build discipline because I was once in your position as well. When I was a young entrepreneur, I'm still a really young entrepreneur, I guess, but when I was like 19, 18, 17, and I was looking into ways on improving my life, building discipline, like I took the Stoic path and all these natural paths that led me to where I'm at today. But I was looking up the same things. How can I be more disciplined in my life? Because I want to read more. I want to do the things that the millionaires did. Like I want to do all those things so I could have the life that they had. So I was looking at how to be disciplined to make those things a part of my routine. Here's the problem though, is that discipline is typically looked at that you need to force yourself. Now, a better way to look at discipline, like if we want to keep the word discipline around, is like, oh, they're very disciplined in their work, as in they're very consistent and just consistent with what they do that produces a result. But here's the thing: is that you're probably disciplined in one area of your life or another. Like you probably do something consistently over and over and over and over again that not everybody can do. Now, maybe that's something bad, or I should say, quote unquote, bad, as in disempowering to your life. Like maybe it's something that you overdo, something that's unhealthy for you and it's not good for you. Or maybe it's the opposite, something that's extremely good for you that you're disciplined in, right? We all have discipline in one way of our lives if we give discipline that definition. The problem is that when we look at discipline as in the way that you need to force yourself to get a specific result, you're kind of narrowing your view on how to get the result and you're making it way harder than it has to be, right? Why try to push a square block to the finish line when you can just take the time, carve it out, make it into a ball, and then you can roll the ball to the finish line? At first, you'll be slower, but eventually you'll probably pass the square and you'll get to the finish line faster. So that's the problem, is that I see so many people, and I think it takes a very rare breed of person to be disciplined long enough where they force themselves to get a certain result. I mean, that's why so many people fail when it comes to weight loss and entrepreneurship and all these things, because they take such a hard path and they focus on actions only. And they focus on actions only, which means you're focusing on the action, but you're not changing your identity, which naturally drives your action. So eventually you're going to lose steam, you're going to burn out, or you're going to be miserable, stressed out, and always worked up or always built up or whatever it may be. So, how can we stop forcing? How can we start flowing? Let's dive into it. Here's a quick example though. So, let's say somebody believes that they are a fit, healthy, strong person, or they're an Olympic athlete. Let's say they actually are an Olympic athlete. That's their identity. Okay. How will they act then? If that is your belief system, if you, let's say one day you show up on this earth and you automatically were programmed to think and believe that you were an Olympic athlete, even if you weren't an Olympic athlete, but now you have the exact belief systems and the thought process and everything that they have in their mind, you're naturally going to act that way, right? If you, that's genuinely what you believe. For example, if you believe in God, if you are a Christian, if you are whatever religion you are, if that's what you believe, you're naturally going to act based off that in alignment with it. Same thing with everything else. So you will naturally act in alignment with what you believe to be true. So you'll naturally act like a fit and healthy person, and therefore get the results. When I built my weight loss coaching company, I helped over 500 clients. We had a majorly high success rate. Many clients stayed for years and years and years. Why? Because we worked on changing their identities and not just giving them a stupid diet plan. Okay, most people just want a quick fix, and that's why they do diet plans and these quick, cheap subscriptions to lose weight, but they never actually lose weight because they don't change the number one thing, which is your identity, your belief systems. But if you just take the time to do that, trust in that process, everything else changes as you go. So, results. Well, when you act like a fit and healthy person, you're going to eventually be a fit and healthy person. That's why I added in time, because in order for your reality to reflect the changes that you made within, when I say within, as in your belief systems, your identity, you need to give it time. There's a lag period, right? Because right now, reality reflects your old identity, your old habits, your old beliefs. So that's a reflection of it. So you need to stay consistent with new actions, new behaviors, your new self over time. And as you do that, reality will then start to reflect it. Now, if you're in that period right now, that's called the void. That can be a scary part. I got more trainings on that you can watch on my other videos. So, back to the program. So, the results, fit and healthy, right in line with what you believe to be true and what you're acting in alignment with as well. So, the key to discipline, the actual key, if you want to become a more disciplined person, which basically means if you want to be the person who shows up and acts as the desired result that you want, then here's what you want to do. Number one is take the things that you want to accomplish. So take in mind, okay, why do I want to be disciplined? Because I want to make more money. I want to be very successful in this business. I want to be outstanding, blah, 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 whatever it may be. Okay, well, what belief systems must that person have? When I think of that vision, that result that I want, what would I have to believe to be true about myself and the world to be acting that way, to have all those things if this is how the mechanism works? Okay, then you're getting clear on like all the belief systems, all the identity, like what you would have to believe to be true about yourself, all of that. So if it's success, if it's entrepreneurship, if it's money, you want to dissect all your beliefs around success, around CEOs, around sales, around money, around selling, all of those things. You want to get very clear on your belief systems around those things, because if they're disempowering, naturally you're going to reject them and move away from them. But if you're in alignment with those beliefs, if you have those beliefs now, you will act towards them. So then number three is adopt the beliefs and identity. So remove the old belief systems and then adopt the new belief systems. This is the exact work that I do one-to-one with my clients. And then number four is you act off this state. So after you adopt the beliefs, the identity, then you act off that state. So you step into the new state, you kind of activate the new identity, and then you take action off that new state. As you start to take new action, you start to produce new results in your life. And that's why, lastly, you have to give it time and you have to trust the process. Because if not, what's going to happen is that you're going to act towards it. Your nervous system is going to be unregulated. You're going to reject it. You're going to collapse back to your old self. And you're going to give up over and over and over again and fall back. But if you do this process properly, you will change. It's just how it works. So that is the training for today, guys. Quick right to the point, but I hope this was very powerful and effective. If you're looking to build more discipline and motivation in your life, you want to watch more of my trainings to really understand how the identity works, how belief systems work. Make sure that you subscribe. I post every single Monday and Thursday. And if you are close to being a six-figure entrepreneur or above, and you're stuck at a plateau right now, you're self-sabotaging, you cannot seem to scale up your business for over 3 months, you can apply for one-to-one coaching where I'll help you make that breakthrough in a few months. You can apply below. There's limited spots, so make sure you apply ASAP if you're actually serious about scaling your business. Now, thank you so much for being here, guys, and I'll see you next time.